Okay. The whole thing. Also good for weakness. The Tanya. Okay, let's start. We're holding in the middle of chapter 4 in Tanya. Over here, it's page 14 or 15, the Hebrew, the English, and the Rebbe. This is his month, the month of Kislev, is Yutas Kislev. We're coming up to the celebration of the Alter Rebbe. Put down that he wrote 53 chapters of Tanya to the 53 days that he was in prison, and he was released on the 19th day of Kislev, in which we're going to have a big celebration here in honor of Yutas Kislev. And so he wrote to Tanya to, in essence, give us the capability for each and every one of us to be able to accomplish what the verse says, Ladas Hashem, to know God, to be able to have a relationship with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, which is one of the mitzvahs, one of the obligations that each and every Jew has. You know, there was a great Baditcher who said, it was his colleague, he said, the Alter Rebbe took a infinite God, he put it into a small book. So that's why that the Chassidim called Tanya the Torah Shebiksav of Chassidus. They called, like, you have Torah Shebiksav, you have the written, you have the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, which the Eivish put himself into it. So too, the Alter Rebbe wrote Torah Shebiksav of Chassidus. He wrote the written law of Chassidus, and on this Tanya we derive. We continue to expand on the aspect of Chassidus and the aspect of Kabbalah and the concept of spirituality that continues to grow generation to generation, hundreds of years after the Alter Rebbe wrote this Tanya, and we continue to learn from it, and we continue to connect to it. So the Alter Rebbe here introduces us to the Levusha Neshama, to the garments of the soul. That the soul has Eser Koiches. He finished by the 3rd chapter. The soul has Eser Koiches, has 10 manifestations, as everything in creation has 10 manifestations of godliness that express itself in everything in the world, whether it divides it into 2 components, from the Seichel, from the concept of wisdom, or the concept of Chabad. This is a Chabad house. Chochmah, Bina, Das, wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, to the emotions, Chesed, Gevura, Teferes, Netzach, Chod, Yesod, Malchus, which the Alter Rebbe said that our neshama, our soul, has within it these 10 manifestations. Chesed, Gevura, Teferes, Netzach, Chod, Yesod, Malchus. Now, each one of us has a capacity, has an expression of Chesed. Each one of us has an expression of severity, etc., etc. But it's very hard for us to actually connect to these things, because the koyach haneshama, the power of the soul, the characteristics of the soul are extremely high, extremely spiritual, extremely powerful. How does one connect to his true chesed? How does one connect to his true understanding, the neshama? As we say, there are 5 levels of the neshama: the nefesh, ruach, neshama. You know, you have in the neshama itself, you have the wisdom of the neshama, which is the neshama. You have the ruach of the neshama, which is the emotions of the soul, and they are unlimited, because they're chelik elakam imal mamish. Your koyches neshama, your powers in neshama is a chelik elakah, is a part of godliness, which is unlimited, which is there before and after, which continue forever. Your neshama was created before the creation of the world. neshama is all existing. It's all powerful. It's all encompassing. How does one connect himself to these powers of the soul? And that's why we have levush and neshama. That's why we have the garment of the soul. It really all depends on the three garments of the soul. The Alter Rebbe says, and the three garments: machshava, dibur, and ma'aseh, thought, speech, and action. And that means the way we express chesed. We call up chesed, but if we don't speak chesed, we don't express chesed, so what's worth all the chesed? The way we express, the way we do chesed, the way we actually do chesed, it's ma'aseh. That's the garment, the way we garment ourselves for chesed. So too gevura, the way in severity, the way we express severity. Should we express severity? Sometimes yes, sometimes not, right? Should we act in a severe way? Maybe sometimes yes, sometimes not. Some people cannot control their actions. Some people can't control their mouths. They cannot control the way they express themselves. But even in these two garments of thought and speech, action and speech is an outer expression. The most important garment that you have, and why is it called a garment in Sidis? Why the Alter Rebbe call it a garment? Is because you can change it. You can wear it or you cannot wear it. Just like any garment. The garment really, in one hand, the garment you can put on, you cannot put on. The garment makes a person, but it's not the person. So really, the person is his chesed, or his gevura, or his wisdom. But a guy can be a great chacham, the guy can be a great genius, but for whatever reason, he doesn't garment himself correctly, so he doesn't show his sometimes. A person that is smart, sometimes the best thing would be if he doesn't say anything, right? There was a Gemara, the Tanya, who said, I'll pay you $1 for every word, and I'll pay you $2 for every word you don't say. So I want you to say something, I'll pay you $1 for the word, but maybe some words should not be said, I'll pay you $2. So why? Because if I garment, I might have great wisdom, but if I garment myself, if I use my speech, and I express myself negatively, so what's worth the whole garment? What is worth the whole wisdom? What's worth the whole chesed? So really, what's the essence of what would be the most touching garment to every human being? And that is his machshava. That is his thought, the garment of his thought. The garment of the way he thinks of his wisdom, the way he thinks of his chesed, the way he thinks of his gevura, etc., etc. So the way he thinks, that's really what makes a human being, the way he thinks. He can think positively, he can think negatively, he can think good, he can think bad. He can take every situation that's happening around him and he can think in either way he wants to think. He can take a beautiful situation and think it's negative. He can take a bad situation and think it's positive. It's all up to the way he's machshava, the way he's going to think, what he sees or what he hears or what he understands. And that's why machshava, the thought is in the garments of a human being, is extremely important to the human being, because it's all into the way he thinks, is the way he's ultimately going to say things, unless he says things without machshava at all. The way he's going to do things, etc. Yeah. So those are what we have been introduced to, and the Alter Rebbe is explaining it right now.
Training your thoughts to be in a more
Trach good, but sein good. Think good will be good. Start thinking good, positively. Think positive, think thoughts. Stop having negative thoughts.
That's a very incredible question. These are merit.
I'm not ruling you. So. Especially by somebody in public. Whatever, to turn it around. Turn it around, keep.
I think
It's a
the
hurry.
trick is maybe the key to it is humility. It is humility. You know,
Could you
Avrama,
repeat the question, Rabbi Booker? We didn't hear what's going on.
her question was, how do we train ourselves to have positive thought? So look at Yaakov Avinu today. Can have a lot of. He's going to Chodon. He's going into the den, into a terrible place. He knows the negatives. He knows what he's facing. He realizes the situation, and he says, I am small from all the goodness that the Eibishter has shown me. I'm not going into this situation with ego. I'm not going into this challenge with an ego. I realize that I'm small in comparison to the what's happening, but I trust in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I trust in God. That the God is going to pull me through. Last night, the Rebbe, we had a video over here. If you were here or you were on Zoom, whatever. The Rebbe says an American dollar. It's written in God we trust. It's not written in God we. People, the Gemara even says, Ganiv. That a thief, when he's going to his job, he prays to God. He has faith in God, right? Everybody has faith in God, and he has faith that he trusts God. He prays to God that that God's going to make him successful, right?
He can get away with it.
So that he's going to get away with it, right? So he believes in God that God will give him success. The God. If he would have trust in God, then he wouldn't have to be a God, right? If he had a trust in God, so he says, I believe in God, I believe in him. Yeah, we all believe in God, but that God can give me a parnasa, I don't have that. I don't trust in him. I don't trust him that he can give me the parnasa. Therefore, I have to ganef. But to be able to be a good ganef, I have to believe in God. God, I have to believe that he's going to make me a good ganef. So I'm not going to get caught. So that's I believe in God. In American dollar bill, they put God I trust. When I trust in God means that I put everything I put in His hands. Everything I trust in Him. That the Eibishter God will bring about everything in a positive way. Whatever will happen is in God's hands, and whatever is the outcome is God's. I trust in Him. So that's the way it is.
Right.
Right. So it's trust. So trust is much more than faith. So even the Gemara that brings the Gemara down. So here's the machshava. Who gives us trust? That's my thought. I can put my trust in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Nobody can give you that. Nobody can give you trust. Trust is a history. You have to have some kind of a history. You didn't have a history with HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we can trust Him. Not only have faith in Him, we all have trust in Him. We need to we have trust in HaKadosh, and we need to put our trust in each other, right? So get abused in our trust, but we should never lose that concept of trust with one another, within each other. Even though we might get hurt and hurt from one another, but we should never lose our trust. Because when we lose our trust, then it's something that is hard to get back.
I was just going to say that when you really are in trust, such a liberating experience.
Yeah,
It does happen to me.
yeah, it is a liberating experience. If we can trust HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If we can trust God, that would be we can have betachan. That would be an unbelievable concept. That's why the Yaakov Avinu asked the Eibishter, I want to That's it. I want to trust you. I want me to trust that everything everything that I have, if you're gonna give me beged lilbush, clothes to wear, and you'll give me food to eat, and you'll give me, I trust in you that what you'll bring me back to where I am, to where I belong. Then that's the belief in God. Then that's God. I trust him that whatever. I trust him in the basic necessities of my life. I trust him in the journey. I trust him in the food. I trust him in my existence. And then that's God. If I have faith in God, then it's not really, then I don't really have the concept of true connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
The Alter Rebbe, remember when he had a choice to go to which school to learn how to pray and learn about God or learn
Right.
Torah?
Correct.
What happened? He came home with the maid.
He said, whatever, he said he came home after a year. He came home, they asked his father-in-law, said, why'd you go to the, he said, I'm going to believe in God. So she called the maiden, he asked the maid, do you believe in God? She said, yes. And the Alter Rebbe says, says it, I believe it. So there's saying something and there's really knowing it. So that's it. That's the way it goes. So the Alter Rebbe wanted a person over here, a person should garment himself with thought. He should be in control of that garment. He should be in control of his machshava. Mayach shalat alalev. The mind rules over the heart, and the only way the mind will rule over the heart is if I take the garment of thought and I'm in control of my machshava. Nobody's in control of my thoughts. Nobody's telling me what to think. Nobody's telling me how to think. I am in control of my own thought. I'm in control of my own speech. I'm in control of my own action. But it really needs to start off with machshava. It needs to do that. Even though, so therefore, ultimately, if I'm not in control of my thought, at least do the right action. At least say the right things. But really, a person needs to be in control of his thought.
But how do you do that?
There's nobody who can tell you how to do that but yourself. What should I tell you? You need to go to maybe psychiatrist. You need actually, the Alter Rebbe says, the Alter Rebbe will tell you that the only thing that you can have truly control, because somebody can force you to say something, somebody can force you to do something. Somebody cannot force you what to think unless your brain manipulated. So somebody has taken over your brain. You're brainwashed. But if not, nobody can control your thought. Nobody can tell you. A person can force you to say something. You could be thinking something else. You can't control them. You can influence, but they're allowing themselves to be influenced. They're allowing themselves to be influenced. So you cannot force a person to think something, to think in your way. The person can say, "I'm thinking like you," but it's not that he's thinking. Nobody knows what's in your thoughts. Okay. And your thought is something totally else. You could have a big smile and you can think it's something else. So that's the way it is. You can dive into the Eibishter and you're thinking about something else. And nobody will know that thought. The Eibishter gave you a garment of thought. He can give you all the wisdom in the world. He can give you, the thought is going to be in your total control. And that's why Alter Rebbe will say that's Kol Adam. His machshava is his thought. What is he thinking? And the way he's thinking is what he is. And therefore, you can act like a tzaddik, but you could be a Russian. You can be a good actor. You can act like a tzaddik. You can even do good things. That's what people say, I'm a good person. Who knows? In action, you're a good person, and in thought, you're totally in a negative place. You're totally in a negative person. And that's a sad situation. It can be the other way too. Chas v'shalom. You can have great thoughts, but you cannot bring it into action. You just for some reason cannot ultimately bring it into a physical act. But therefore we'll never know what a tzaddik is, and the tzaddik himself might not know who he is. Because even though he thinks he's perfect, but in his thought he can be lavdafke, he can be completely in the right place.
Thoughts are clearly our secret place.
And Hasidus doesn't have anything to tell us about how to redirect our thoughts?
I just said, I gave you the thought, I gave you the answer.
What was the answer? Was good. Go to a therapist?
Give it, you put your trust in HaKadosh Baruch Hu and say, you know what? Even though that I seemingly don't have control of my thoughts, I'm gonna become humble. I'm gonna humble myself, and I'm going to put what the Eibishter wants me to have, and that is good thoughts.
I'm just piggybacking on what this woman said here,
Okay.
that I think that part of the way to do it is mindfulness. What is going on in my brain? And that's when you have choice. Once you see it.
I trust God. In God I trust. And the Eibishter wanted me to have machshava teva. Machshava teva, Kadosh Baruch Hu mitzayef l'maisa. We have another expression in the Mishnah. A good thought, God connection to nature. God wants me to have good thoughts. Even in the most dire situation, God wants me to have good thoughts.
What bombarded, and I have patients that are OCD, bombarded by negative thoughts and so much shame because they're having these thoughts to begin with. How can Tanya address that?
That's a difference.
So there you have. I mentioned, mentioned in the class last week. Was it? I think.
You were away.
I'm never away. It was which class? I missed. Thursday. Was it Thursday? Thursday, I think it was.
And Sunday.
Sunday. It was Thursday class, I think. The Thursday, and I think it was a Thursday class. So the Rebbe, right? The Rebbe had a story. The story of the guy who comes to the Rebbe and tells him that I'm in a great dilemma. Right? I'm in a great dilemma. My dilemma is that I'm in love. I'm in love with a non-Jewish girl, and nobody can give me the right application to overcome this taiva, this love. I'm in love. You can tell me I shouldn't be in love. I'm in love. I found the love of my life, and how you gonna? Nobody can give me the right answer. Everybody's giving me negative answer. Terrible. You're terrible. You're terrible. You're terrible. Terrible does not answer the question of love. I am in love. And the Rebbe answered him. The Rebbe said to him, I'm jealous of you. That was his answer. I'm jealous of you. The guy was like shocked. You're jealous of me? What do you mean you're jealous of me? I'm going to officially do the most terrible thing in the world. And you tell you're jealous of me? The Rebbe said, so he said to him, that the Eibishter gave you this challenge shows that God trusted you. God gave you the ultimate challenge, and that shows that the Eibishter loves you. The Chassidus, the Alter Rebbe, explains a beautiful expression yesterday in Torah. Yitzchak Avinu turns to his son Esav and says, "Make me matamim, make me delights." What is that? Why didn't it say make me a delight? It says make me delights, plural. And the Alter Rebbe says that Yitzchak Avinu is symbolic of really God expressing himself to Am Yisrael. And he's telling the Jewish nation, I have many delights. God says to the Jewish nation, I have many delights. I don't have only one delight. I have delights that come from simplicity. Like you take an egg, right? You can have a hard-boiled egg. That's very simple. A soft-boiled egg is a little more delicate. Scrambled eggs. Then you can have shakshuka, right? Right. You have a delight that comes from sour, from pepper. Every shakshuka. It's a more Moroccan delight. I have many delights. Delights from Yaakov Avinu. I have delights from Esau. I have a delight for Esau. If he would take his challenges in life and he would transform it. I'm more delightful, right? And Yaakov Avinu, what's the chachma to get delight for Yaakov Avinu? Ish Yeshev Tam, Yeshev Alam, sitting and learning Torah 24/7. That's wonderful. It's beautiful. But I might have more delight from the Esau, which is the delight that comes from the challenge, the delight that comes from the guy who's in the field, the delight that comes from the struggling Jew. We think we're not Esau, but the truth is we're all Esau. We're all not tzaddikim. That's the Yaakov Avinu. The Yaakov Avinu is a tzaddik. He's Yeshiv Tam. He's Ish Tam Yeshiv Alam. Who's an Ish Tam Yeshiv Alam? Who's a guy who sits in yeshiva 24/7? How many of us are merited to be the holy guy who sits in yeshiva, till he's 75 years old? He has he sits and learns Torah, and he's separated from the world. This holy guy. We're all the guy who's in the field, who's struggling, who's having all these dilemmas and all these struggles in life, and all these contemplations and all these emotions and all these thoughts, these negative thoughts and struggles of evil thoughts, etc., etc. We all have these struggles in life. The Eibishter says, Yitzchak Avinu says, go out there and make me a delight. Go out there, take your struggles, make it into a special dish, make it into something that is delicious. And you know what? I'll give you a bracha. To get the ultimate bracha. The Eibishter says to Yidden, Alter Rebbe says, don't take your struggles and bury yourself. Don't take your struggles and become negative. Don't take your struggles and have evil thoughts. Take your struggles and realize that that's the delight. It's good. It's going to be a delicious dish. You're going to get prepared for God, a delicious dish. Take your struggle. That's what we learn from Esau. Don't learn from Esau to take your struggles and continue the struggles and make it worse and make it worse and make it unredeemable and take your struggles and make it into a beautiful delight. Make it into a beautiful, tasty dish. Make it into something that is, what is the harshest element, one of the harshest elements in the world that you cannot eat? Actually, if you eat it, you don't make a bracha on it. Salt. There's no bracha on salt. If you eat salt, it's dangerous. But what food has a taste without salt? When you come to a certain age, you can't eat salt anymore. You realize the beauty of salt. But salt cannot be eaten if you just take it like this, eat salt. If salt, with every thing that you eat, it makes it into a tasty dish. It makes it into a tasty food. So therefore, that's what the Eibishter wanted. That you should take everything that is, you should take your machshava, when you might have evil thoughts and the Eibishter gave you those evil thoughts. Who gave you? Who made you? Who gave us the Esav within us? The Eibishter, God gave us the Esav within us. You don't think that you push it to you. I'm so great that I created the Esav within me and myself. God gave us a challenge. He gave us a challenge. He gave us a challenge to overcome the challenge. He gave us the machshava to change the machshava. He gave us the thought to redirect the thought. It's a surah, as the Torah says. Don't look, don't follow your eyes. Change it. Your eyes give you a machshava. Your eyes gives you a thought. Change it. Don't follow that thought. Don't follow that sight. The Rebbe says, who's the Torah talking to? Who's the Torah talking to? Don't follow your eyes or the heart. Don't follow your heart. Who's the Torah talking to? You're talking to a tzaddik? You're talking to Yaakov Avinu? Avinu never followed his heart. Always was a pure individual. followed his mind. He's talking to the Esav. The Nefesh Bahamas. He's telling the Nefesh Bahamas. He's telling the Esav, don't follow you. I know that your heart is strong. You're Edom. You're a hot guy. I made you hot. Gave you the challenge. So the Rebbe said, I'm a tzaddik. I'm jealous of you. You have the desire. If the Eibishter gave you desire, means that God trusts you. Maybe God never trusts me. Trusts you to overcome your desire. That's why Yitzchak loved. Yitzchak saw the potential in Esav. He saw the power in Esav. You saw the godly power that Esav has, which we still need to overcome. Which for 3,000 years, we're still trying to overcome the power of Esav, to harness the power of Esav. Edom, still trying to overcome that power. Still haven't yet accomplished how powerful Esav is. Mashiach will come. We'll power the Esav. Take the power. We'll use the power in the right way. Power of Esav.
These have consequences. Leads us somewhere, doesn't mean it's the right place to be.
Right. Do you live without a heart? Without an emotion? Imagine life without an emotion.
Be very boring,
It'd be very,
very flat.
correct. So we want a life with emotion. All right, I saw an expression. Chernobyl. It was a Talmud of the Baal Shem Tov. Said, the Gemara says that in the way a person goes, that's where we lead him. That's where God leads him. So the expression in the Gemara, if a person wants to do Ra, wants to go in the way of evil, that's the door they open for him. That's the door that's open for him. And if he wants to go in the way of good, actually Messiah the Eibishter helps him. So the Chernobyl, so the used expression is the door is open for him for the way of evil. Then he believes that the Gemara means that if a person has a tendency of evil, that's the door that's open for him. Meaning that's the Eibishter says that's your avodah. That's the door that's open for you. You shouldn't think that that's the way is to take your evil and to transform it. That's the door that's open for you. That is your avodah. That is the door that's open for you. That the point is that if a person has evil tendencies, you shouldn't think that, oh, he's doomed. He's the bad guy. He's the doomed guy. He's the evil guy. He's the person that's never has no redeeming factor. That is your redemption. That is your purpose. That is your service. That's the door that's open for you.
Therefore,
Go and overcome it. Go and change it. Go and do it. That's your avodah. That was the service that the Eibishter wanted. Not that you're a doomed guy, that you're the bad guy. That's what the Asa took it. Asa took it that he's the bad guy and finished.
change.
No, that is the avodah the Eibishter created for you. That if the Eibishter gave you this despondency, depression, negativity, addiction, that's the door that the Eibishter gave you. That's the avodah the Eibishter wanted from you. Not that he said, oh, I'm the loser. No, you are that's your avodah. That you're the winner. If you can overcome it. And not if you can overcome it. You can surely overcome it. It's not if the Eibishter God gave me that service, then I can overcome it.
Choose.
If you choose to overcome it. That's it. So choose to overcome it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
We have the tools.
And choose to overcome it.
We
That's your
have the
choice.
tools.
So the truth is, that is where real choice lies. in the way you're gonna choose to overcome it.
Don't live
So
in
if I'm-
shame. People live in shame because that's their door that's open. They go, what's wrong with you?
That's the door the Abishter gave you. So there's no shame, there's no negativity, there's no bad, there's no bad and good. The Avodah the Abishter gave you. It's the service that God gave each and every one of us. And choose your Avodah b'simcha. Choose your service with joy. And be happy. And that's the Avodah God wanted from you. That's the way we need to develop this concept. Is it easy? The Rebbe would tell people when they came to him and said, it's a hard, nobody promised you anything. Nobody promised you, it was a song, nobody promised you a rose garden. Nobody promised you anything. Nobody promised you an easy Avodah, an easy service. Nobody promised you an easy job. They should promise to help you. They should promise to be there for you. And that, maybe to promise Yaakov an easy job. That's when a person I say I'm humble from all the chasadim. I realize that all the chasadim, the Eibishter, all the kindness that the Eibishter gave me, all the tools and all the capabilities that God gave me to overcome this situation.
Like what?
Baruch Hashem, health and capabilities and strength and fortitude and perseverance that I could overcome all these challenges, prayer and God and godliness and Torah and friends and their family and whatever God gave you the capabilities to overcome it. The tools, the friendship, the godly, whatever, the show, the community, whatever it might be that God gave you to overcome it. Thank you. Baruch Hashem. Take the opportunity, take the possibility, and use it out to overcome your challenges in life. That's it. And that's what look at Esav. The Eibishter gave him unbelievable parents, unbelievable capabilities. Use it out to Tov. Don't want to use it out L'Tov. You want to blame it, you don't, that's your choice. The door is open for you. You can use out all it L'Tov and use it out L'Tov. I gave you all this capability. That's what Yaakov Avinu said. Is there negative in the world? Sure, you bet. I'm dealing with Esav, I'm dealing with love, and I have such struggles in my life. Now I'm going to go deal with 4 wives and 12 children. These are heavy burdens in life. And these are heavy struggles. But you know what? There's so much the Eibishter gave me that I can overcome it and deal with it and not only deal with it, but persevere and to become a great nation.
We have to choose the right path.
Exactly.
That's
We have to
it.
choose the right path.
Choose. B'chai to b'chayim. Choose life. Choose good. Choose good. Choose good.
You suggest to shut the door?
No, keep the door open.
The door open.
Because because you overcome one thing, another thing's gonna come towards you. Life is not ended. When
One door closes.
When you're dead, it's all over. So as long as you're alive, keep the door open. Because you're not gonna change. Next challenge is gonna come your way pretty quickly. So go from challenge to challenge, from success to success. So that would say, go from strength to strength. Go from strength to strength. Because never be happy, keep on going. The Eibishter gave you talents, and he gave you these struggles to make it even bigger and better, and go from level to level. That's life. Don't until it's over.
Tough putting from the other side of the grass.
That's the Beinanim. This book is called Sefer Shel Beinanim. The book of the middleman, which is struggle never comes to an end. When a struggle comes to an end, then he knows he's dead. And he knows he's on the other side of the situation.
Then he becomes the son.
But then it becomes a tzaddik. But
Wait,
until
what book are you talking about?
what?
Sefer Shel Beinonim.
This book we're learning.
Oh, Tanya is considered Sefer Shel Beinonim?
Considered it's called Sefer Shel Beinonim. Please, let's go. Let's learn some Tanya. I think we should learn a little bit, right? We should get to the book. We should hit the book.
I thought we were learning Tanya.
Yes. Right. Right. This is subscribed 100%. This is the attitude that everybody should have. It's not easy sometimes to have this attitude, self-understood.
What attitude? We can't hear what people are saying.
He just said this is the attitude we should have. I explained which that's it. He didn't say anything. He just said this is the attitude we should have. And I agree with you. This is the attitude you should have. I said yesterday the Rebbe, very powerful sikha, the Rebbe, which the Rebbe says, the Rashi says, the first Rashi of yesterday's Parsha is that Rashi says 4 words in the beginning of the Parsha. Yaakov ve'Esav ha'amurim b'Parsha. Yaakov ve'Esav ha'amurim b'Parsha. It's 4 words. Yaakov ve'Esav ha'amurim b'Parsha. Ela told us Yitzchak, Yaakov ve'Esav ha'amurim b'Parsha. What does Rashi mean? Everybody knows Yaakov and Esav is written in the Parsha. Yaakov and Esav amurim b'Parsha. Rashi wants to tell us that we should never forget that there's Yaakov and Esav that's written in the Parsha. I want to ask you, if you look in the Parsha, or you look in the Torah, yesterday's Parsha, does the Torah talk derogative about Esav? Not one derogative expression about Esav. There's nothing derogative in the Parsha about Esav. Esav was a man of the field. That's the derogative. You have to learn Rashi to know what the derogative is in the Parsha. But really, look at the Parsha. There's nothing derogative talked about Esav in the Parsha. Great guy. It's like to him. He looked like There's nothing negative in the Parsha. You need to go to the commentaries to see the negativity of Esav. In the Parsha, there's nothing. The Eibishter doesn't talk negative about anybody in the Parsha.
Very sad.
That's it. Not negative, that's positive. The guy wants the bracha is taken away from him, he cries. He's not. There's nothing negative spoken about Esav in the Parsha.
Why not?
Because Esav has also positive in the Parsha. In the Parsha, everything is positive. That's it.
But his brother.
You don't see that in the Parsha. You don't see that in the Parsha. In the Parsha, you might see a Yaakov negative.
He is. He's deceptive.
Be careful.
He fooled his father.
In the Parsha, you have to look at the negative as positive. In the Parsha. In the Parsha, there's no negative. Right? In the Parsha, everything is positive. Even Esav is positive. Even Yitzchak wants to find the positive in Esav. Everybody wants to find the positive in Esav. Yitzchak wants to bless the Esav because in the Parsha, the Torah, if you want to look through God's eyes, Yaakov and Esav are both in the Parsha.
I'll have to get kind of a disconnect.
Well,
Once you-
Rivka wasn't doing that.
But go to the interpretation of the Parsha. Go to the Parsha. In the Parsha, what does the Eibishter want from Esav to be good? What does Yitzchak want from Esav to be good? Everybody should look at everything to be good. Negative to be good.
Get it, when the commentaries is that
It's your interpretation, but it's interpretation of the parsha. The parsha, you have to look at the parsha. The parsha is that Yitzchak wants Esav to be good.
The fact that he could have killed Yaakov, is that okay?
Right? Why does Rivka send away Esav? Why did Rivka send away Esav?
Wait,
Why didn't he send away Yaakov? He sends away Esav. He sends away Yaakov. Why didn't they send away Esav? Avram Avinu sends away Esav. Sends away. Why did it?
good question.
Yeah, very good question.
Rivka interpreted Hashem.
No, because you need to change the Esav. We're not talking about Yaakov. We need to change the Esav. Yitzchak, you need to keep him home. You need to keep him home. You don't send away the troubled child. You don't send. That's what we do usually. We send away the troubled child. We don't send away the troubled child. We keep him home. We try to work on him. Hopefully, we can make him better. Yaakov, we can send away. Don't worry, Yaakov is a good child. We have nothing to worry about. He's going to take care of himself. He's going to be fine. We need to keep Esav close at home. We need to keep Esav at home. So Rivka doesn't love the Esav. She keeps him at home. We make sure he stays home. Right? Yaakov, let's send him away. You need, Esav was a Yid. Understood. Esav was a Yid. He was a strong mummer. He was a Yid. And you need to do work on the Esav. You need to work on the Esav. You need to make sure to keep him close. Keep him close. You need to try to change him. You need to keep him close. It didn't work out, Lamaskana. We all know the end of the story, but not when you're in the story. If you're outside, if you're a Navi, you know the end of the story, maybe. But you don't know the end of the story. So therefore, you need to think, anything negative in the world has its redemption.
Rebbe, always.
As its redemption. There's no negative in the There's nothing negative comes from above. Yaakov Esav would have a parsha. That's what Rashi's telling. No negative from above. Oh, it is negative. You need to find its redemption. Maybe if you're going to find its redemption, you'll redeem it. If you're going to write it off, then you write it off. That's your choice. You can write it off.
You just have to write it off, right?
Oh, don't write it off. Don't write off anything.
Because I look at everybody anyway.
That's it. Beautiful.
So, because that's who I am. But some people are so nasty.
No, then you're not. That's not who you are. There's no such thing as nasty people. Everybody is wonderful.
Yes.
That's it. And that's it. There's no nasty people. Not that you could say there's nasty people right away. Now you've written off somebody. There's no nasty. There's nasty actions. There's no nasty people. There's no nasty people. Imagine you had such an attitude. There's no nasty people. You really had such an attitude. There's no nasty people. No, you live in a perfect world.
Yeah.
You have that attitude that there are no nasty people.
Is that a personal question? Yeah. Try to have that. I try to have that attitude. There's no nasty people. There's nasty action. That's what the Rebbe taught us. That's what Chassidus, that's what Torah teaches us. There's no nasty people.
Right.
There's nasty actions, and you need to stop talking. You know, the Rebbe, I heard an expression when I was at the convention. Some people said, what did you learn from the convention? I learned many things from the convention, but one of the expressions I learned was the Rebbe said, I don't talk about people. I talk about issues. I do not talk about people. Change if you talk about issues. So there's no nasty people. There's a lot of issues that are going on in the world. People can always change. If I'm going to talk about people, you're going to put down people, then people can change. Very difficult for people to change. Talk about issues. Elevate people. Elevate, change issues, you'll change people.
Say that again, please.
Be nice to people, they will change.
Give us an example.
Give an example. The Rebbe transformed the world You look at the Rebbe transformed the world through talking nice about people, talking nice about Jews, telling Jews that they're good, they could be good, they should be good, they will be good.
But Rabbi, it's
Right now,
Thomas Zapora from Queens.
What?
Do you hear me?
I
I'm
hear you.
sorry. I'll be back soon, God willing. But if somebody's really, really abusive to you, and you want to be nice, but you need to separate from them because they're
then separate from them.
nicely.
Look bad. Why talk lashon hara about people? We learned last week on Thursday. The Rebbe says God made Yitzchak blind for 57 years not to talk lashon hara. But Esau. Lashon hara, the Eivish doesn't talk lashon hara about Esau. He doesn't want to talk lashon hara about Esau. Yitzchak doesn't want to hear lashon hara about Esau. And all that is the whole thing is all worth it. That a Yitzchak should become blind for 57 years, not to talk lashon hara about Esau.
They could have changed. it.
What's the connection?
Change him. Only Esau can change himself. Esau cannot be. Esau can change himself.
In general.
And that's
we
what
can
that's
only
that's
change
what even Yitzchak's bracha is not going to change Esau. Yitzchak wanted to change Esau through his bracha. Rivka said, "You're not going to change Esau through his bracha because Esau is not ready to change, and that's the reality. Esau will not change because he won't change himself, and Esau proved that he wasn't ready to change. He's not going to change. No bracha is going to change him. Nothing's going to change because he doesn't want to change, and that's it. Esau doesn't want to change. He will not change. So not Yitzchak is going to change him, not Rivka is going to change. Therefore, it's lashon hara. That's why it's really lashon hara. Because lashon hara is a talking negative about somebody else. It's not going to change anything. It's just lashon hara.
Amen.
Having an addiction, the very first step is to know you want.
If somebody change it, lashon hara is not going to
You
change.
said- you
To get
said the
back to
Rebbe
the
said-
Tanya,
So what issues?
He changed the world, right?
Right?
yes.
So that,
What? Don't talk lashon hara.
no, I mean, that,
No, the Rebbe talked about issues. He talked about negative issues.
right, but you said that,
About people, you don't talk about people. Talk about people, you talk good about them. There are negative issues in the world, and how do you change it? And how do you talk about the negative issues in the world? Never talk about people. People, you only talk positive.
Like saying, the
That-
idea is.
That's about Jews.
That you're.
You only talk about Jews positive. The Rebbe would say, I don't know a negative
Yeah,
Jew.
you're a good person with a suit.
I know it's positive. Every Jew is positive. Every Jew is wonderful. Are there negative things in the world? Yeah, we have to work on the negative things in the world. The Yetzer Hara, there's the evil inclination, there's terrible Avodah Zarah, there's terrible situations, but a Jew, every Jew is positive. Jew is positive. Why? Because every Jew is positive. If he's not positive now, he'll be positive tomorrow.
What?
Positive.
What if they're in a-
Even not a Jew. Every person's positive.
Also non-Jews?
Also non-Jews. Everybody's positive.
Even though
Everybody has good potentials. There's a famous story about Jesse Helms. Jesse Helms was in the beginning, he was a very tough guy, outspoken tough guy. So once Lubavitch honored him, and well, they honored him. They some people complained to not the Rebbe was honoring him, the Chabad. There was a Chabad also was honoring him. They asked the Rebbe if they should honor himself in the stood. They asked the Rebbe. The Rebbe agreed that he should be honored. And there was a good big debate about it. People wrote to the Rebbe, why would they? The Rebbe said, then the Rebbe answered, you never know the potential of anybody. Right? So even though Jesse Helms was seemingly but ultimately, after there's no correlation in ultimately the story, but we see that after they honored, he became one of the biggest advocates for Eretz Yisrael. Jesse Helms became one of the biggest advocates for Eretz Yisrael in history of the Senate. I think it was the Senate. That's the reality. Jesse Helms became what? Because everybody has their you have to know how to you have to know how to bring out the good in everybody. Yid or good. You have to know how to bring the good out in anybody. And the way you bring it out is talking good about the person. That's it. Talking good about the person.
Good for you.
That will be the first thing. Talking good about him.
Yes, and turning it around.
Right. If you talk bad about him, it'll never be good. So let's start talking good about each other.
Talk good about everyone.
So we can-
Knew that Asa was not ready to be influenced. He was not ready. That's it. He was just not ready. And that's the reality. He was not ready. The truth is, Yitzhak, the truth is, that's why Rivka kept Asa home, because the only guy who really cared about Asa was Yitzchak. Okay, so Asa Rivka knew that Yitzhak loved Asa, and he needed to stay with the guy who loved him. And therefore, let him stay home. So Rivka was Meiser Nefesh to let Yaakov away, which Yaakov was, it says he loved Rivka, because he knew that Esav needed to stay with Yitzchak. Yitzchak is the only one who had the capability maybe to change him, because he loved him. The only one who loved him can change him. Not the ones who didn't love him were never going to change him. So Yitzchak could change him because Yitzchak loved him. The Rebbe loved every Jew. Therefore, he could change Jews because he loved them, not because he hated them, not because he condemned them. So he loved them. Yitzchak loved Esav. He wanted to bless Esav. You think Yitzchak, you didn't know who Esav was? Yitzchak was not a stupid person. He knew who Esav was. He knew what he heard, what Esav did. He knew exactly who Esav was. But Yitzchak loved Esav. You understand? Yitzchak said, I love Esav. I need to try to find a way to get to him. I'm not going to write him off. Impossible to write him off. And we cannot write off anybody. The second you condemn a person, you're writing him off, and we cannot do that. So we need to always love everybody.
But getting back to the time you talked about garments.
Right.
So his garments needed a shift.
Right.
The nature, you can change your garments.
You can change your garments. He didn't want to change the garments. It's it. He didn't want to change his machshava the way he thought he was, and that's it. And you weren't going to change him if he's not going to change himself. And therefore, we also don't change.
Same with witches?
We also don't change. Do we change? We don't change either. So we don't change either because we're not willing to change the garments. We're not willing to change our garments. We will always have certain thoughts and we'll never change it. I mean, I'm not saying we'll never. We don't want to change it. We've decided this is the way it is, and that's the way it is, and that's it. That's it. We won't change certain garments when we think about others. We're just not going to. I'll explain you this. Oh, we have to think good about others. We're not going to change it. We're not going to change unless we want to change that way we think about others. That's it. It's not going to happen unless we want to change that. So if we want to change the way we think about others, we'll change it. If not, we won't change it. And nobody can, whatever, you can talk to today to tomorrow. We can say we changed it, but we're not going to change it.
What about ourselves? How about wanting to change ourselves?
Ourselves too. We're 100%. We can talk till we're blue in the mouth, to blue in the face, that we should think positive about ourselves, but we won't think positive about ourselves. It's just the way it is. We're always going to think negative about ourselves. It's the way it's going to be, because the way we are. Because the garment we want to wear. That's it. We want to think negative about ourselves. Whatever reason. Alter Rebbe says later, we want to think negative about ourselves because we're egotistical. That's it. It gives us maybe some pleasure that we think negative about. Oh, we think that's a positive thing to think negative about ourselves. It's a positive thing. We're better people. No, you're not better people. Baba Mises. It's making you feel better that you think you're better people, but really you're not better people. You're an evil. It's evil to think negative about yourself in a way. I like to think that way. People like that. They get some gratitude out of it. It's not an easy thing. I'm not saying it's easy. It's not an easy thing because we see that it's not an easy thing because it's hard to change ourselves. It is that it's very hard to change ourselves because it's hard to change this garment of thought. Hard to change this garment of our thought, the way we think about things. We have certain way we have established ourselves, the way we think. That's why this is Kala Adam, because this is the way we think. And we're not willing to change that. We're in a way all like Esau, who don't want to change who we are. And we can do tshuva, and we can change who we are. We don't have to be like Esau, and that's why Esau is important to us, because we all need to change the Esau. We all need to change the way we operate. Even the tzaddik, even the... Not an easy thing to do.
It's scary.
Huh?
People.
That's why Esau's scary. Esau cries. We see the emotion of Esau. Esau cries. The bracha without any change, right? Esau wants the bracha without any change, and therefore he cries. He gets emotional. Esau says, "I want the bracha. Give it to me." What you don't have any bracha for me? I'm willing. I don't want to change, but I want your bracha. I want the bracha. I like all the same. I want everything without any change, without doing anything about it. Do you see? Therefore, you see the Yaakov Avinu gets the bracha because he changes himself.
Doesn't Esau need
That's
to-
it. Yaakov change himself to get the bracha. He needs to fight to get the bracha.
How do you change it?
It's not so simple to get the bracha. The truth is the Eibishter doesn't give him the bracha until he later on. The Eibishter doesn't agree with this bracha right away. Yudashi later, when the Eibishter says after the fight of the Malach, he says, "Now I'll give you the bracha." Now that you have shown that you're willing to fight for it, that's why I give you the bracha. But right now you got it a little bit, but I'm not really agreeing with this. This is your mother's actions and the Yiddish mama. But I really, it's even though you put yourself out there a little bit, but it's not really. It's really your mother. I'll see later on if you are willing to fight for it. We'll see how you'll stand the fight later if you are willing to fight for this blessing. Blessings don't come easy. If it's free, it's not so. You get things you get for free are usually not. It's shameful bread, and you need to fight for it, and that's what we need to fight. We need to fight for it. So we need to fight for the bracha. We need ourselves fight for the bracha. No, we need to fight for the blessing. We need to change. We need to change ourselves for the blessing. We need to go above ourselves to the blessing.
But Rabbi, he did have to separate himself from Esau, right? He couldn't stay close to him. He was running away from him.
Ultimately, you have to fight with Sadeh Shalesa. That's later on, next week's parsha. The fight with Sadeh Shalesa. No,
what's the Hebrew words mean? I don't
he needs to
understand.
fight with the angel of Esav. He needs to come back to the Esav to receive the bracha. That's later on. Where he fights with the Sadeh Shalesa, where he becomes a different person. He comes named Yisrael. He reaches his epitome when he fights the Sadeh Shalesa, the angel of Esav. He's fighting with the angel of Esav later on.
And then he invite.
Separate himself. He needs to separate himself. Correct. 22 years. Yeah, it takes 22 years.
After he does everything, then he.
Right.
Ah,
But when does he finally enjoy the bracha? That takes him another 22 years. That takes him after the 22 years of Yosef. That's really his challenge.
oh.
That's the ultimate challenge. Oh, yeah, poor guy. Yaakov Avinu doesn't have an easy life. Nobody you should realize Yaakov Avinu doesn't have an easy life. Not Avraham Avinu had an easy life. Not Yitzchak Avinu had an easy life. Not Yaakov Avinu had an easy life. They didn't have an easy life.
Her mother
And,
didn't.
No, nobody has an easy life.
So that's why we don't.
We have an easy life. Thank God. We should all have an easy life. We should all have an easier life. We pray for others' easier lives. We don't want to have. We don't want to. Stop it. I wish that everybody should have an easy life.
Amen.
Easy life, begashmi, easy life, and they shouldn't have any struggles. But if they're not, they should realize that it's part of their journey.
If we had an easy
Right.
life, then the life wouldn't be something that we could strive for.
Can handle that. Yes, Yaakov Leisha B'Shalva. Yaakov Avinu wanted to also live in tranquility. I don't know.
Right, at the
What
end-
if Abish says no?
No.
It can.
Oh,
Oh my God. That's what Dalton ever says. The Beinoni is not an easy life. It's not an easy life. If you're looking for an easy life, then be wicked.
Right. You got so
I guess I'm sure that's such an easy life either.
Or maybe you think, no, the Gemara says, "Derech Rishayim Tzelecha." The ways of the wicked are easier.
Yeah, they get it here, don't get it up there.
I get it over here. I don't want to wait till
I
I'm
get it
there.
both places.
Thank you. Right?
It's here and I want to get it there.
But the truth is, the struggle, if you overcome your struggle, ein simcha kataras hasvekas, there's no greater joy than overcoming a challenge. So therefore, when you overcome your challenge, you have a great joy. You have a great simcha. And that's where you see it in the world. If you overcome your challenge, you overcome the struggle that you're having at the moment, you have a great simcha. We haven't learned a word in the Tanya, but whatever. Baruch Hashem.
Single word, she went there.
Let's all Tanya.
But it was all back, but.
Okay, Baruch Hashem, let's continue. Should we learn a couple of lines? Let's get a paragraph. I'm holding on page 14. Bottom right paragraph.
Now,
These three garments deriving from Torah and its commandments, although they are called garments, then that's how Rebbe wants to tell you again why these garments will change you. You shouldn't think that these garments are simple things. They're outer garments. They're something that's outer of you. You should realize your machshava, your maisa, your dibur. These garments come from God itself, and they're much higher than even your soul. And that's why they give you who you are. So that's why the Alter Rebbe says these garments deriving from Torah, mitzvahs, and commandments, although they are called garments of the soul, nefesh, ruach, neshama, their quality, nevertheless, is infinite higher than, greater than the nefesh, ruach, neshama themselves, as explained in the Torah. Because the Torah and the Holy One, blessed be, are one. The meaning is that that the Torah, which is the wisdom and the will of the Holy One, blessed be He and his glorious essence are one, since he both is the know and the knowledge, and so on, as explained in the Maimonides. And although the Holy One, blessed be, is called Ein Sof, infinite, and his garments can never be fathomed, his greatness can never be fathomed, and so thought can also cannot comprehend him at all, and so are his will and his wisdom, as it's written. There's no searching for his understanding. And can you find God and search? And again, for my thoughts are not your thoughts. Nevertheless, it is this connection that has been said were to be found in the greatest Holy One, blessed be He. There where you find his humility. Yeah. Gemara. Gemara says a statement, where do you find God's greatness is where you find his humility. Where do you find God's greatness? When you find God wanting connection with each and every single one of us. That's where you find God's greatness. You find greatness in humility. That's why I started this class off. Where you find God's greatness is in humility. Where you find the greatness of man is in humility. And the greatness of a human being is in his connections, in his humility to be able to connect, in his humility to have trust. Where you find God greatness in his trust in man. You say this every morning. I acknowledge God in his Rabba Munasecha and in his unbelievable trust in me. David created me today in the morning. He gave me my neshama back today in the morning. He wants a relationship. He trusts in me. That's how you see the greatness of God, in his humility, in his relationship, that the Eibishter is infinite, above and beyond comprehension, gave me my neshama back today.
Not just that he gave it back polished and shined.
Even if he gave it back, that he gave it back, that he wants the relationship with me, that shows the humility. There you see the greatness of the Eibishter. The simple, and the Eibishter wants a relationship with me. I should have that humility. I should have the humility of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I should have God's humility.
What does God's humility mean, actually?
He wants
Like, I
me.
understand for people, it
He wants
means
me.
that
He
I
wants a relationship
realize
with me.
everything comes from Hashem, but what does it mean when it was?
He wants me. He wants a relationship with me. That's his humility. Humility.
God is all powerful, all knowing, and he wants to converse with
He
me.
wants to converse with me.
Wants a relationship.
He wants a relationship.
He's
That's a big
everything.
Tanaka.
He wants a relationship. He wants a relationship with me. That's God's humility.
He's willing to.
The Eibishter loves me. You know what? There was the most powerful statement yesterday in the Haftarah. I don't know if you realize. The Rebbe say this statement many times of Micha. Ahavti eschem amar Hashem. Says, I love you. The eschem amar Hashem. The Eibishter says, I love you. Imagine. My thought is mine, not your thought. I'm above and beyond comprehension. I am what I am, and I say I love you. Ahavti eschem amar Hashem. I love you. I don't love them. I love you. I love you. And the truth that I love you, that's what you said in the morning. The Eibishter says, I love you. Tell me I don't love you. I love you. That is unbelievable humility. You would understand that if the Lubavitcher Rebbe, for example, would tell you, I love you, which the Rebbe did. Everybody felt that the Eibishter, wow, unbelievable. If you understand what the Eibishter says to you every morning, I love you. She comes down every morning, gives you back in the Shem and says, I love you. Whatever is going to happen during the day, never forget that I love you. It should make you fly. Actually, you trust that. But you imagine if you would understand that every morning the Eibishter says, I love you. That's all your thoughts and all any of God and all your contemplation is not going to come to one expression that God says, I love you. That's it. Right? Well, what are we looking for our parents? I love you. That's the love, right? All the imagination, all the understanding, contemplating the greatness of the simple I love you. More powerful than all the machshavas and thoughts and meditation and understanding. That's what we should grasp. That's what we should grasp from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. is that his humility, that he loves you, he wants you. You all a wonderful day. So you can say whatever you want. See you next week.
Wait, Rabbi.